Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
This post-fight interview is brought to you by MMA Mental, MMA Worldwide, and YourMMA.tv. It is sponsored by Almighty Fightwear. For more post-fight interviews from the biggest promotions, please subscribe to the MMA Mental YouTube channel. Also, like MMAmental.com, MMA Worldwide, Your MMA, and Almighty Fightwear on Facebook. And on Twitter, please follow at MMA Mental, at Your MMA, and at Almighty MMA. I'm now joined by TUF Nations welterweight winner Chad Laprise. Chad has just won the first season of TUF Nations, also the first Canadian winner to win the Ultimate Fighter. Chad, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Congratulations. Well, not only on a great season, but also, you were the underdog going to the finale, but for winning the finale as well.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's definitely the biggest achievement in my career so far.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the fight, and then we'll talk about the season. Of course, you were fighting Olivier Aubin Mercier, or OAM as he likes to be called. You'd both had excellent performances on the show. He was likened very much to Georges St Pierre, and he was the favourite going into the finale. How hard was it for you facing a fellow Canadian in the finale rather than facing one of the Aussies?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't an ideal situation. Myself and Olivier have been teammates for 2 years outside of the show as well. Training together at the TriStar gym in Montreal. I knew going into that fight that he's a very, very skilled grappler, so I knew that I had to keep the fight standing. And I worked a lot of wrestling and defended that takedown so that I'd be able to strike with him.
It must have been really difficult then. If it's somebody that you've trained with, you obviously know him, he knows you. So what did you do in the build then? Did you have to leave that camp, or did he leave the camp? Because I take it you didn't train together in the build-up for the fight.
No, he's actually from Montreal, so he stayed at a TriStar, and I did my camp back home in London, Ontario, whereas I usually just go up there for a training camp. So this time I just stayed home, and I actually trained at Team Curran as well in Chicago to get prepared.
So going into the fight then, it was, like you said, he was known for his grappling, you were known for your striking. So the plan was to stop him from taking you down and for you to keep him on the feet. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. That was 100% my game plan, and we both knew that going in.
I mean, even when it was very rare he did get you down, but even the odd occasion he did get you down, you were straight back to your feet. How strong did you feel within your grappling defence against his grappling?
Yeah, we worked obviously wrestling first and foremost to not let him take me down. But then I knew he'd eventually probably get me down, and I worked a ton of getting back to my feet. He is really strong from the top position, and if I'd let him stay on top of me, he would definitely won that fight.
And with regards to the stand-up then, as strong as he was in the grappling, did you feel you had a clear-cut advantage on the feet, and that even with him not being able to take you down, if he switched to his boxing, he wouldn't be able to survive or he wouldn't be such a big threat in the stand-up as what he would be on the ground?
Yeah, I knew that he definitely has power in his hands, so I just felt that I was a little more crisp and a little more sharp with my technique on his feet. But he actually surprised me a bit in the fight. The time that he spent away from the show, he obviously worked his stand-up a lot, and he was a little better than I expected him to be.
Now, the other thing as well, I mean, this was, of course, your official UFC debut. You'd fought twice in the TUF House, but this was your official UFC debut. What was the build-up like in Fight Week with all the media, all the hype, being in the hotel with all the fans? What was all that like?
I've been super blessed with the opportunity of cornering in the UFC 4 times before for my teammates Sam Stout and Mark Hominick. So I knew exactly what that fight week was going to be like from the minute that I got off that plane. I knew all the build up, and then come up fight night. Like I said in one of my post fight interviews, I truly believe that God put me on this earth to be a fighter right now. And I had zero nerves at all going into that fight. I was just focused and focused on the task at hand.
The other thing was, of course, as well, with your fight being the first of the TUF finales, whoever won your fight was going to be the first Canadian Ultimate Fighter winner. What was it like knowing that you are the first Ultimate Fighter winner to come out of Canada?
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing and a real honor to be the first Canadian Ultimate Fighter ever. It's I'm definitely blessed to have had that title.
Yeah, I mean, and you think there's been some great Canadians on past shows, including, of course, your coach, because Patrick Cote was on an Ultimate Fighter as well. So it's a hell of an achievement to be the first Canadian to win the Ultimate Fighter, I think.
Yeah.
Now, it's fair to say on the show as well, we, of course, the theme was Canada versus Australia, but it was one of the most one-sided seasons we've had. I mean, obviously both finals were all Canada, but even especially in your weight class, in the semi-finals, it was, 3 Canadians and 1 Australian. Was it surprising that it was so dominant from the Canadians on the show?
No, I knew kind of going into the season that our Canadian team was very strong. Mixed martial arts is obviously a lot bigger here than it is over in Australia, and our talent pool was much larger to pick from. But also on the flip side, I knew that the Australians would be very tough, very, very, very gritty, and very hungry going into every one of those fights.
Yeah, they kind of had nothing to lose, really, did they? Because they were, like you say, with hindsight, they were always the underdogs going in, so they had nothing to lose and of course, everything to gain. Now, talking about the semi-final, of course, this was another tough fight because you were put up against another friend, training partner, Cajun Johnson. How hard was it for you to get yourself fired up to fight Cajun in the semi-finals?
Yeah, with me and Cajun, it's the same as Olivia and I. We're also teammates outside of the show, so all 3 of us going in knew that we probably had to fight each other at some point. So, he was definitely my teammate, and it was definitely hard to kind of get motivated for that fight. But we both knew that it was just 15 minutes of business, and that's what had to be done.
I know the fight was quite emotional for you as well because of the way the fight ended. I mean, of course, you in all fights you go out to win, but I know from watching you on the show and the way you carry yourself, you never go out to injure somebody. So how hard was it for you to deal with that side to it, with the injury that Cajun had during the fight?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. Obviously, Cajun had a broken jaw into that fight, and that's never my intent when fighting. I always hope that nobody gets hurt. But and then afterwards, obviously, I had to live with him every day and see his face like that, right? So it's definitely probably the hardest thing that I've ever went through in my career.
Now, the other thing worth noting, of course, was from the season. There's always three bonuses given out, and you actually won 2 of the 3 bonuses. You won it for performance of the season and also, of course, for fight of the season. Now, I think with the stoppage of Cajun, that was always going to win performance of the season because it was such an emphatic finish to a fight. But how pleasantly surprised were you to win fight of the season on top of that?
Yeah, I was super blessed to get that double bonus. That extra $50,000 was definitely kind of life changing for me. It's the first time I've ever made real money fighting before, so it's definitely a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot of money. Well, also on the night, of course, we had the coaches, and in true Canada versus Australia fashion, if you like, Canada rolled through and won the coaches fight as well. What was it? Was it nice for you to be able to sit back and watch that fight after you'd been out there and done your business?
Yeah, I definitely didn't get to see much of the fight because it was kind of right after mine, and I was back in the medical room and then doing interviews. But Patrick Cote was such a great coach, and he really treated me well on the show, and I was very happy to see that he won his fight.
Now, moving forward then, how do you feel after the fight? You got any knocks or injuries, and when would you like to get back in and compete again?
Yeah, I just have a few bumps and bruises, obviously, from a 3-round fight. But I'd like to fight again as soon as the UFC books me, hopefully maybe July.
Have you got your eye on... Are you going to stay at welterweight or are you going to drop to lightweight? Because I know both weight classes have been considered.
Yeah, I'd imagine I'm going to drop back down to a lightweight, which is my natural weight class. But like I said, if they offer me a fight at a welterweight, I would take it too. But
if you had a choice, would you rather fight at lightweight because that is your natural weight class?
Yeah, for sure. Lightweight is where I belong.
Cool. And have you got your eye on anybody you'd like to face? Because obviously you're in the UFC now. You want to start working your way up the rankings. Who do you think's best match for you to help you work your way up the UFC rankings?
Yeah, really anybody that they match me up with. I'm really not be a position to call guys out yet. I definitely need a few wins under my belt before I start doing that.
Fair enough. Well, congratulations on a fantastic season, the 2 bonuses, and then of course winning the finale.
Perfect. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Before we let you go, Chad, I just want to give you a chance to do some shout-outs. So let people know about your Facebook and your Twitter, and also shout out any friends, family, sponsors you want to shout out as well.
Yeah, you can find me at Chad Laprise on Twitter, and obviously at Chad Laprise on Facebook. I just want to thank all the fans and everybody who supports me.
Brilliant. Well, I can't wait to see you step back in the cage, Chad.